ordinary rice that we eat is meter, you know? So branding brings, evokes emotion. Yes?
I had a person who was mentioning one day mentioning the name of this rice,
Okay.
He was saying it out of appreciation and pride that me and his mama.
At my house, yes. It's because of the branding. Sometimes that mama go, the rice and the grains are not as good as our local one. Sometimes I'm not condemning the brand, you know. But the fact that they feel they are branded, the emotions they evoke from you to even feel important to be using that particular brand. That is just branding. And they will deliver perfectly, you know. So branding is more than just logo. I can talk from now till Monday about branding. I've not even scratched part of what branding is. But I'm sure you have gotten the idea. You've gotten the idea of what you should do as a brand. Study your people, study the people that buy from you, and then know the kind of tone to speak to them. Yes, if you are dealing with the rich and famous, you know you cannot just come anyhow and start talking anyhow, right?
Yes.
If you know you are dealing with the elderly, you will not go and start putting Davido music under your post, right? So when you are dealing with particular group of people, you should know the way you the tone you speak to them about, the way you present your goods to them, the way you package everything and give it to them, you understand? And you have to go with the trend. Don't be lagged behind like Nokia, please. Advertise. Come out of the dark. Give and give and give. Don't be scared to advertise to the last person that you advertised before. It doesn't matter. If that person did not buy yesterday, they may refer somebody to buy it from you. And they may buy next year. You understand? They are still your audience. So please, go digital. That Instagram page that you're not active on, please start being active on it. You are leaving millions on the table. I'm talking out of experience. And one more thing before I round up to the ladies here. I noticed something. I'm not trying to yab you or something. The lady in white hijab, when she came in, he was snapping pictures. And immediately he pointed the camera at her, she blocked her face. Probably our Hausa people, I'm not trying to condemn us, I'm Hausa to popcorn, that being going digital is haram or something like that. I have limited knowledge. That they have something that is hindering them from going digital. We don't say you must post your face. We do not say you must go and dance on social media. But your products, when you brand your product well, you can boast, you can hit your chest and post your products when they are branded, right? So you don't have to be shy going on Instagram. Somebody here I know that sells Tradamuta. She has a page on Instagram. She sells Tradamuta, but I've never seen her face on that page. And up till today, even when I came in here, I requested for her Tradamuta. Because it's so branded and beautiful, you understand? And she is somebody that her brand is so homey, you know? The feeling she gives is something that is extraordinary, you know? So that is branding for you. I cannot even remember the colors of her brand, but I remember her product because she has branded it well. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let's go digital.
Psychology. Blue color suppresses hunger. You can check that, yes. Why yellow and orange steers appetite. That is color psychology. Now when you go to eateries, when you check their colors, you go sleep right. That's what it means by branding. You use colors and things that will run with what you're doing. Our next presenter, so he came late. Mr. Pokes in the house. You're welcome.
The great speakers, they've already spoken before me. I know, I've seen the faces only on the flyer, and I've never met them. Except for my very big friend, I would say Nasalisu. Of course, we had quite a lot of platforms together. Now, but the interesting thing about business is that after all the things we've said, branding, entrepreneurship, financial management, you will step out there into central market and your heart will still be broken. You will call for the clients and they will refuse to come. Your heart will be broken. You will call your husband and talk to him about the investment you want to make that can change the history of your family entirely, and it's like you're wasting your time because it doesn't make sense. You will still be disappointed. But the thing that makes the difference between the one that succeeds in the long run and the one that keeps failing is the one who says that whether the rain comes or it doesn't come, I will still go to the farm and till the soil because I'm ready for the bloom that will come to my life. It's about a commitment that says that there is more to me than what appears unto humanity to see. It's about that desire that says that even when the rain comes on, or whether the sun shines and it scorches all over me and my life is looking like everything is gone and there is no drop of oil of transformation, I'll still remain true to my convictions that I have a thing to contribute to the betterment of the universe. It's about that person. It's about the person who arises at the crack of dawn, and long before the prayers are said and before all the prophets will begin to speak about the wonders of the day, he says that, look, it all begins with me and not the blood. Because in the long run, the product we actually buy is not your product, you are the one we buy. It's about the grit that never gives up when the times are challenging. It's about the one who never bows to COVID-19, because whether with face mask or no face mask, finally you've understood that there is a first fiasco in the narrative of the universe, because we no longer talk about COVID-19 because Ukraine and Russia are the new COVID-19. Yes. There is a reality about life that needs to be very clear to all of us. That it is not what the world celebrates that becomes the reality of you, but have you actually connected to the deepest core of you that tells you who you are against the rules and regulations? Because the one who actually becomes great is the one who breaks the rules. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm done with that kind of poetry. Let me try to say something different. It's been a wonderful time. Honestly, I'm so happy, Hafsat, finally we've made this possible. Because when we're thinking about bringing people together, I was like, okay, let's try and see if we can pull together some very, very dynamic minds. Let them come speak to us about how we can move our businesses forward. And she was able to pull this group of wonderful people. And one of the things I actually did was to, please let's translate for us. One of the things that I have been very passionate about is, can we change how things happen in northern Nigeria? I don't know. I am a very, maybe I am ready to die for northern Nigeria, kind of. I'm working on a book entitled Fear Not. And somehow I try to ensure that the letter R and the letter North goes down, so that the call I am making onto people is that there is something that is coming out of us that we're yet to see. But that will depend on a lot of things, and that's what I'm going to talk about, and it affects everybody seated here. One of the major challenges we have, I am together with Arewa Development Support Initiative. So far in the last 3 years, we've been able to do quite a lot of work in reaching out to communities. One of the things that we've been committed to doing is skilling people in northern Nigeria, skilling them, giving them skills of all kinds. So what we do is we move from state to state, and then we get people who will benefit from the work. Each member of the organization contributes at least 2,000 naira every month. And we've been able to pull together millions of naira in the last 3 years to help change the narratives for several people, especially the underprivileged in northern Nigeria. What we do is to bring them together and then give them skills that will help them, sometimes in tailoring, sometimes in electrical works, and all kinds of works, fashion and all of that. So, and then after that we give them starter kits with which they can begin their businesses. And that has been quite successful. So as the media strategist of Arewa Development Association, Arewa Development Support Initiative, my role has been projecting the image of northern Nigeria in a new light. In the light of the things that we have been able to do, in the light of the things that we've been able to accomplish. And one of the things that I have been committed to doing over the years has been talking about stories of people who have made a difference. I'm very particular about stories because I think that stories change how we are. It changes how we see things. It changes how we perceive the things that happen to us every day. And anytime I discover something new in the region, I want to talk about it. I want to write a story about it. I just want to talk about it. I want to publish something about it. And Arewa Development Support Initiative has been about the major platform on which I've done a lot of my publications on some of these iconic mines in northern Nigeria. Now, having said that, let me come to something that is critical. You will realize that almost all of us seated here, you can talk about possibly 5 to 10% of us who consistently read on what we do. There's a saying about a black man that if you want to hide something from him, keep it inside a book, because he will never read. Where I'm getting to is this. A lot of times, this happens to us almost every day. For example, if you come online and you're supposed to fill a form for something, normally there are terms and conditions. And after the terms and conditions, they will ask you to click whether you agree or not. Many times we don't even read the terms and conditions. What we do is we click because we are consistently in a haste to finish the thing and move on to the next thing. And so in the long haul, what I have discovered is a buzz of activities, but there is no result to show for it. Please get this clear, that you are active does not mean you are productive. Movement does not equal productivity. If hard work or consistent series of activities were the things that will determine who becomes rich, the richest women would have been in the central market, because before the crack of dawn they are already walking up. And they are there by 7 p.m. some of them are still in the market, and all they are selling are possibly petty things: tomatoes, onions, pepper, or some very common things and they will wake up before anyone. They are very active, they are moving from place to place and when we look at them, we laugh at them and say, oh, these people are ignorant. Now, we have a hybrid level of ignorance nowadays. Our own is digital ignorance. In fact, our own ignorance has been so digitized, so much that you are ignorant, but you don't know that you are ignorant. And because of that, it makes it more complicated. You know, it is actually easier. If I am sick and I know that I am sick, then I can find medication. But if I am sick and I don't know that I am sick, you know, I have no fear of anything. Anything goes, because I don't know that I'm even sick. One of the best thinkers I have ever found in the world is Malcolm Gladwell, the writer of Outliers. And I've been reading him back to back. Almost everything he writes, I want to read about it, because he thinks in a way that it unseats me consistently when I read Malcolm Gladwell. And then one of the person that I have discovered again, I'm going to combine all of these thoughts that I'm drawing from 2 of them, is the ruler of Dubai, Al Maktoum. You know, in one of his books, The Vision, the race for something about the race for excellence across the nations of the world. And there was a vision for Dubai, how it started, how they wanted to change everything and all of that. The same Dubai that looked forward to Nigeria in the early 90s for help. The same Dubai that would come to Nigeria looking for how Nigeria could be of any help to them so they could survive. The same Malaysia who came to Nigeria, picked just maybe a seed of our own palm oil, and today they are the world's largest producer of palm oil. The same set of people. India was at a point in time beggars, they were the Almajiris of Nigeria. Some of us witnessed it. What is it that makes the difference between the person who becomes great in business and the one who never becomes great? It's knowledge. But not just knowledge. The knowledge that can be domesticated to the realities of what you do. I really need to take that again. What is it that therefore makes the difference between the one who succeeds in business and the one who doesn't? It is knowledge. But not just potential knowledge. It is the knowledge that has been processed. The knowledge has left the pages of the book and it has become life in the life of the one who reads it. The person has so accumulated it that the person is a spitting image of what he or she claims to know. So much that when you see the products of the person, when you see how the person does business, you can tell that this person actually knows what they are talking about. Let me go back to the university. Therefore, if somebody has a degree in any subject in the university, and the person cannot explain the simplest concept in a subject to a 6-year-old child, the person doesn't know it. Let me take that again. If you have a degree in any subject, in any course in the university, and you cannot explain the simplest concept in your course to a 6-year-old child, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm supposed to be talking to you about how you can pitch your businesses. I'm laying a background that is very, very key. Are you following? Are you confused at any point? Because of that, one of the things that will matter in all the things that they have said is this. You will realize that there are times that some of the things that you've learned in school are irrelevant to the realities of the things you do. Is it true? For instance, I give you a typical example with me. If x equals to 2, is this 5x? Well, if x is, and many times they even start with 2x. If 2x, why not just pick one x and leave the other? Why not you want to find another x? You already have 2x, Abby. You already have how many x? 2x. You are looking for another one. You want to find another x. How about pick one and leave the other one? Will it ever happen in mathematics? Now, you know, my thinking, follow me, my thinking as an artist, as a raw arts student, is that if we don't have to explain the thing, if there's no logic in it, if there's no argument in it, if I cannot see the words playing around, then it makes no sense. Now, but the scientific mind talks about x as that unknown number. And there is always an x in everything you're doing in life. There is always an x. You're trying to find that x. And you will never finish finding the x's of life. Because once you find one, there will be another x that pops up. What is that unknown number? And it is the understanding of that for the person who is scientifically inclined and the person who is artistically inclined. So much that when he explains the thing, he understands that there's still an x that we need to find. And it is finding that x that keeps me in the blue ocean instead of being in the red ocean of life, following every kind of business. That is why I have to wear red. Because the red is significant of everything that everybody is doing. I'm trying to push you out of the business, trying to push you out of the business. That's the red ocean. Everybody's battling to have a space of relevance. But once you're able to begin to find the X of life and say, what's that unknown? What is it that nobody's already doing? What's nobody already understands? And it means I will have to go back to all the things I've talked about, searching knowledge, reading more than they're reading. This is the reason the one who becomes great is the one who talks less but acts more. Because knowledge is silent, emptiness is noisy. And you know that is true. If you look back to your days in school, the dullest students in the class were the ones who made the most noise. Some of the most intelligent students in the class, you will not even know they are around. Because intelligence is quiet and silent. You know why it is quiet and silent? Because it is consistently thinking. The people who actually move and shape Nigeria, you don't know them, you will never see them. But they are there. They determine what happens in this nation every day. The movers and shakers of Britain, you will never see them. UK, the United Kingdom, you will never see them. But they are there. They decide what happens every day. What is so different with that set of people? They know something that every other person doesn't know. They are consistently searching. They are consistently asking questions. I'm sorry, this is going too deep. Am I confusing you now? No. Let's try to draw a conclusion to all of these. I've opened up a lot of ideas. I've thrown them all like seeds all around. What I'm drawing at is key and critical. For every day that you pitch your business, and what I do is I'm a communications consultant. All I do is I want to tell a story. And you see, this is the funniest part of it. This was why I discovered knowledge was key. If, for instance, Hajia, I want to write the story of your life, how much do you think I should charge you? And the book is going to be in your name. You're going to be the author. But I'm going to tell the story as a literary expert. So, for instance, you're going to tell me that I was born in 1982. For instance, just an example. And then that's what you tell me in the interview. Everybody's listening to me? Yes. It's going to be a very practical session. And she's telling me I was born in 1982. Now, as a writer, I know she wouldn't have thought that there were a lot of things that happened in 1982. Is that true? Yes. So I'll go online and find out what happened in the 1982. What were the most iconic events in the society? How was the weather that particular month, that year, in that community? There are a lot of people I can talk to and I can get the information. Was the sun still shining? Was it that the death of somebody had just been announced or a boy had been born and they were wondering if a girl would ever be born again in the community? So you create a scenario about all of that. What I'm being paid for is my thinking. I'm know what I'm making sense. I'm not being paid for the story. She's the story is us. I have nothing to write except she tells me something to write. All right. So in the long run, I'm able to tell you a story from the beginning to the end. How much do you think I should charge you for that?
How much now?
Like how much?
500,000.
500,000. Because that's book speak. Is that not so?
Yes.
That book speak. And the least we've done in the last 1 year is possibly $1 million. That's the least we've done in 1 year. In the last 2-3 years. The least we've done in consulting. The same thing I've just explained is the least is 1 million naira. There is something you need to understand. You've seen business proposals before, is that not so?
Yes.
What is the beginning of a business proposal? What's the first thing? What's the first headline or subtopic or anything? What's the first thing you see?
Introduction.
Sir?
Introduction.
Introduction, followed by what? Sir? Executive summary. There are a lot of contents in a business proposal. If I want to get a client, I'm supposed to get across to the client in so many ways, is that not so?
Yes.
One of the things we discovered when we were working out a business around communications, because it became serious when we were hired to consult for United Nations Population Fund in Northern Nigeria. And that was the first of its kind here in Northern Nigeria in 2020. Very, very fantastic time of learning, of working, of doing all of that. I checked out all the reports they are done in almost every country in Africa. Checked out what they are doing in other nations across the world. And I realized that every time, because you know, I don't know if you've ever seen the annual report of UNFPA, they are in chapters. All right. So after every chapter, you move to another chapter. Like that. I'll follow it. When we were working on that, I was like, that is the standard globally. We're going to change this standard. So because I am a poet at the same time, so after 2 chapters, I will compose a poem that reflects everything we've talked about in the last 2 chapters, so that the layperson can understand what we have been talking about in the last 2 chapters. When I was tidying up the whole thing, I produced another poem, because I'm passionate about Northern Nigeria, and I entitled it Coming Home. Because I was like, we'll come back to a Northern Nigeria where the pyramids are no longer that of the ground, but the intelligence and the architects and the contributions of our people to the betterment of the universe. We're coming back to that Northern Nigeria where our people have relevance on the global table, not because of our creed or not because of the things we do, but because we have something that can change the universe. I was so passionate about that, so much that I was writing that. And when I was being paid, of course, it was good money. We don't need to talk about that. What I'm getting at is every time we were walking through all of those things, we realized that the only way we can make a difference is to bring something into the system that is different from what others are doing. In pitching a business idea, that is the only thing that matters, your novelty. The slides, I've already given you the slides, so I think there's a way you can share it to everybody. So everybody gets to see it, and then you can follow through. You have an introduction, you have the problem you've seen, and what are your solutions to those problems, or what is your solution to that problem? And then you move on to novelty. What is that new thing you're bringing into the space that others have not brought into the space? And the only way we can do all of these things is to go back to everything I have said about the fact that you will be disappointed at the central market. About the fact that most of these things they're talking about, maybe only 5% of the people have retained all the things you've said. So we will not also be disappointed ourselves, because we know that that's the way it happens in every gathering you go. Only 5% of the people walk away with everything you've been talking about. And in the long haul, it may be less than 5% that implements what has been discussed. This is the reason you have something that I call conference prostitution. You know what conference prostitution is? Or seminar prostitution. People are jumping from one seminar to another, jumping from one conference to another, but there's nothing that has changed about it. And especially when they see a very catchy title, How to Make Your 1 Million Naira in 2 weeks. Everyone wants to go for that seminar. But the reality of the matter is that you're never going to make that 1, 2, or 2 million naira in 2 weeks. It's impossible, because there's something you need to understand. That's why I keep talking about knowledge. You have to go back to the books to understand that the person who actually becomes great suddenly changes and naturally becomes great without the product. I don't know how to communicate that in a clear way. This is my product. This is my product. Are you following?
Yes.
Before you ever see my product,
if you meet me in person without the product, you like my person. You find a personality that is enthralling. You find a character that is compelling. You find a lifestyle that is different. You find a person who is satisfied in themselves. Somebody who is not in competition with anybody to become anything. The person who has grown in their character, stable in the things they do, before they even talk about their product. Am I making sense to you? So that when people are buying your product, most times they're not actually buying your product, they're buying you. And she talked about that earlier. They're buying you, not the product. Because there's something about you that is compelling. There is something about you that, for example, if like Tony Elumelu, he has done a lot for entrepreneurs in Africa. Anytime his name comes up when he was building his house, I think the first time he moved into his house was in his early 50s or so. By the time he finally built his own house, his friends, his mates wanted to pull down their houses because they had been on his neck in his 40s, early 40s, late 40s. Build your house, build your house. He said, the time for me to build my house has not come. I'm still building my business. Go back to the books. If you are really in business, it may be impossible for you not to be reading one business book every month. As a personal rule, because of the kind of things I do a lot more of writing, public speaking. I read 6 books every month. It's a discipline. It has to happen. You consistently have to grow. You have to be ahead of the game. And you see, the problem why these things are difficult, issues of self-discipline, is because many times when we begin to make the millions, we give up. Because the target of many people who come into business is money, not solutions. Entrepreneurship is actually different. That the one who comes into the system hopes to offer a solution that changes humanity. How can you ever be satisfied with putting smiles on the faces of people? Money will not change it. You consistently have to grow. I hope this makes sense to you. That you go up to your drawing tables and connect all of these dots together and come up with something that compels the universe to want to partner with. And then let everyone want to buy your product because you're bringing something into the system that you've actually sweated doing. You've worked so hard. You've given it your blood, your sweat, and your life because you think that your being part of humanity is supposed to be the best thing that has ever happened to anyone. Thank you so much.
Last on our list, we have Mr. Azubike Okorochi. Is in the house? Okay, before that, I have something to say. Good friends are better than good shoes. This is one of the best programs I've attended. Let's celebrate the organizer or organizers. Ranging from the speakers, they are seasoned. This is not tacky presenters. They are well learned. Going by their grammar. You know, sometimes some people can corrupt your memory. Maybe you have something like you are even doubting, am I correct or not? You know, you are models. And whatever feedback they give, you interpret it. I don't know if you get me. Watch out for the way they speak, their body language. What they give out is positive. May God bless you. You are not just here even one day. You are
when Martin is here, nobody gets that type of thing.
It's Martin now.
They actually got to the introduction well, and I am actually Mazi as people. Don't mind the other Mazi. I've often told him that he's going to pay. And I've told him why he should not be called a Mazi. Good afternoon all. My name is Mazi Azubike Okorochi. And when I got the introduction, sorry I came a bit late. I had to do one or two things, go one or two places. I'm actually a sports person. So I don't joke with my sporting activities Saturdays and Sundays. So I was glad when she put me for a new session. So by so doing, there is no clash. Now let me go back to my presentation. I'm actually here to talk about access to BOI funding. Access to BOI funding. So I'm going to stick to that and I'll speak strictly on that. And I'm going to make it as interactive as possible. Then I'll take questions and I guess maybe I'll round up from there. What is BOI? BOI simply stands for Bank of Industry Limited. BOI is actually, or was actually established by the federal government in the early 80s to give access to funding opportunities for small, medium enterprises, right? Now, according to the World Bank ranking, any business that makes about $5,000 upwards is actually ranked as a small business. Now, we also have what we call micro businesses, so which I think most, will want to tap in. I came in during the presentation of Ajia when she was talking about digital marketing and the likes of them. I think there is actually power in digital marketing. It doesn't matter how you do it, just make sure you make an effort. You cited an example of a lady that you won't see her face, but you always see her products. And that's why entrepreneurship, or what entrepreneurship is all about. Let your product be out there. Now, I want to ask a question. If, for example, you sell products, and I come to your shop, and I do not see such products, what are my chances of coming back the next time? I will most likely not come back, right? So, for your business to be much more sustainable, we need to talk about cash flow. And they say cash is the lifeline of every business. Cash flow. You need to talk about your cash flow. If cash is the lifeline of every business, it means you need money. Now, what federal government has done is to give you access to funding. I once met somebody in line with what Hajia said through Instagram. I never knew her from Adam nor from Eve, right? If I call her name, okay, I'll be doing free advert. Her name is Yomis on Instagram. You can check her out. She makes beautiful cakes and all that. We got talking through. What?
Say from Zaria, Yomis.
Oh, very good. I actually met her through Instagram. So now back to access to BOI funding. How many of us here do have a business that is registered? Don't worry, I'm not condemning you. I just want to show you how easy it is. How many of us have a business that is registered? Everybody, please, if you have it, don't wait, just take your hand up. If you have a business that is registered, okay, fine. I think we are making progress. What type of business do you have that is registered? Let's hear your names, the name of your business. Please stand up.
My business name is Omhaj. Omhaj Concept.
Okay, Omhaj Concept. I think I saw a hand here. Bros, what's the name of your own business?
Jew Fresh.
Sir?
Jew Fresh.
Jew Fresh what?
Is it fresh?
Call the full name, sir.
That is it.
Jew Fresh. Okay. Now, what I'm asking is that there are some companies that are, for example, the name of my own company is called Kusha Integrated Limited. Some companies are registered as limited liability, while others are registered as business name. So that's why I was trying to ask, right? Now, for most of us here, I will encourage us, when you get back home, try and register a business with the Corporate Affairs Commission. It is actually easy. There was a time, if you are talking about power of knowledge, there was a time federal government said, everybody go and register your business for free. For free. Some of us did not take such opportunities. Some of us were actually sleeping on it. That was the best time. If you want to register your business, you must pay. I would encourage us to ensure you go get your business name, no matter how small you think it is. And for those of us that are here, I would advise, please get a business name. For now, you do not need to get a limited liability company because of the issue of taxes and the rest of them, okay? No matter the business that you are presently doing, please get it registered. It will count for you one day. Just imagine if your uncle calls you now, say, come, submit a proposal. They want to give you a job and you don't have a business name. And you meet this, our friend here, he's going to charge you for using his company, right?
Yes.
I mean, that is profit or part of your money being lost. But let's assume that you have your own business name. You're not going to meet him. And when you have such businesses registered, please go to a commercial bank of your choice. Ensure you open an account. Because when we are talking of access to funding, when we get to the issues, you will now see why you need to open an account, right? When people want to pay you for your business, tell them to pay through your account. It's not an ethnicity. Some people say, hey, they feel. It's not about how they feel. It's for your own good. Because one day they will talk about the capacity of your business. And all those monies that they've been giving you by hand, that's when you will now realize that it ought to have passed through my account. Now, let's go back to access to funding. But I said them. And I know my voice is very loud.
Fashion world.
Fashion?
Yes, manufacturers.
Please, I said no random answers by the side, sir. Yes. Fashion.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to call you because you deviated for what that the productive sector is being funded. You understand? Because trading is not actually something we do inside. Somebody goes to Dubai, produces mask and brings it here and sells. It's not adding to the real economy. That's what we call the real economy. Yeah. Okay. This is our brother that was talking about pitching. See, for you to be great, you must sacrifice. Abi? How many times do you recharge your phone? No, I don't know. I don't recharge my own phone. How many times do you recharge phone?
Every day.
Very good. By the time you bring all those money together, you have money. You know, we have music and we have money. Okay? So am I making sense?
Yes.
So, you know, from that 3 million, I broke it down. It's now small. Do you understand? You cannot see, oh, this thing is really doable. Okay? Questions? Somebody is confused. Please, let me help you. You are lost. Let's bring you back. Awful. Questions? Okay, at this junction, I would like to thank the organizers. I'd like to thank Hafsat and the rest of them. You can actually reach me out on all social media handles. We are available. Our company has an Instagram page at Kusha Integrated Limited, one word. And the integrated there is INT, Kusha, K-U-S-H. We are on Instagram, right? K-U-S-H-A INT LTD on Instagram. And if you want my number, you talk to Hajia and she will give you my number. Thank you so much for listening to us. Can I give them my numbers? No, I don't want to be disturbed. So I thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us all this opportunity of getting here. It's been a wonderful time having you here all. Before we close, I want to talk one or two things on digital marketing. I love digital marketing. Like, if you say anything digital, you get Hafsa first there. I love digital marketing. When it comes to marketing, it all has to do, how do you sell your passion? How do you get the attraction? How do you sell that potentials in you that you get attracted to people easily? So when it comes to digital marketing, actually last year, I set up a program, or let's say a business. Last year, Ramadan, I started a fantastic sales for Ramadan Plus. So actually, it was supposed to help entrepreneurs market their products digitally. But to an extent, sorry to say, Arewa was still asleep. Arewa was still asleep. The people, the target audience, they didn't even understand what I was talking of. The people I wanted to market for the digital marketing during Ramadan, because there are many opportunities during Ramadan. So it got to a point that the people that I was knocking at, they were looking at me like, oh, she's saying, after that's what they were having. After coming computer, after touching your kaza, because they didn't understand. Because there was no knowledge, there was no background. So we had to go down to scratch from the ground to bring out this